All right, Doctor, everything appears to be in order.
Wait. Thank you, officer. Is there anything else?
No, that will be all. Have a safe night. All right, Doctor, we appreciate your patience. Be careful out here tonight.
Will do, officer.
Dr. Maya Ellison felt the cold bite of blue and red lights slash across her windshield before she even heard the siren. She slowed, heartbeat steady, until she saw the officer step out. Broad shoulders, stiff jaw, hand resting on his holster, as if she were already a threat. The rain lightly tapped her hood. Her stethoscope, still around her neck from a double shift, glinted under the street lamp. "Window down," he barked. Maya complied. The officer leaned low, breath hot with impatience. His eyes swept her face, her skin, her ID badge on the passenger seat. Not reading, judging. "You in a hurry, ma'am?" he asked sharply. "Or you just think the rules don't apply to you?" "I'm heading home from the hospital," Maya said quietly. "I'm a physician." His lip curled. "Funny, don't look like one." The words hit like a slap, familiar and exhausting. She inhaled slowly, gripping the wheel. Then his radio crackled. A frantic voice. "Unit 12, respond. Civilian female, unresponsive. Cardiac distress at your residence." The officer froze. Maya watched his face drain of color. That's my wife," he whispered. She didn't move, didn't comfort him, just said one sharp, blade-like line. "Do you want help from the doctor you don't believe exists?" His silence was thick, terrified, pleading. Rain pooled beneath their feet. And in that fragile pause, between pride and desperation, Maya realized everything in his world was about to break. Dr. Maya Ellison blinked hard as the cruiser's lights cut through the quiet stretch of road. She pulled her car to the shoulder, exhaling through her nose. It was nearly 1 a.m., and after 16 hours on her feet, her hands still smelled faintly of antiseptic and latex. Exhaustion tugged at her, but caution settled deeper. The officer approached slowly, boots crunching on wet asphalt. She rolled her window down halfway. "License and registration," he said sharply, not looking at her face yet. Maya handed them over. "Is something wrong, officer?" He finally lifted his gaze, pale eyes narrowing, scanning her skin, her braid, her scrubs. "You were speeding." "I wasn't aware of that," she replied softly. "My cruise control was on." "Don't argue," he snapped. She went silent. She knew that tone. She'd heard it before. Sometimes in emergency rooms, sometimes at gas stations, sometimes right outside her own apartment building. The tone meant, "I've already decided who you are." He flicked her ID with his finger. "Doctor, huh?" "Yes." "You sure about that?" he asked, one brow raised. These days anyone can print something fancy. Maya inhaled slowly, letting the insult pass through her like smoke. "I'm a board-certified cardiologist at Riverbend Medical." "Funny," he muttered. "You don't fit the profile." There it was, the line she heard in different forms her entire life. She didn't react. Reacting gave him ammunition. "Step out of the vehicle," he ordered. She hesitated. "May I ask why?" His hand moved his holster, not drawing, just resting. "Ma'am." "Out! Now!" Maya opened the door and stepped into the cold night air. Rain sprinkled lightly, beating on her stethoscope. Grant shined his flashlight directly into her eyes. "You been drinking?" he asked. "No." "You look tired." "I just finished a long shift." "Or you're hiding something." She clenched her jaw. "Officer, I—" "Turn around." Her stomach tightened. "I respectfully request to know the reason for her." "Turn around." His voice cracked, not with power, but irritation. She complied, arms raised slightly. He didn't cuff her, but he came close enough that she felt the heat of his breath, the suspicion radiating off him. "This is a routine stop," he said, though nothing about his tone was routine. "Just making sure you aren't posing a threat." "A threat?" she repeated, voice low. "You heard me." Before she could respond, his radio burst alive. "Unit 12. Respond immediately. Adult female, unconscious, cardiac distress. Location. Registered address on your file." Grant went still. Maya turned her head slightly, seeing confusion, Fear, disbelief wash over him. His throat bobbed. That's my wife. For a moment, he seemed small, stripped of the certainty he'd wielded like a weapon. Maya didn't speak, didn't comfort him. He looked at her, desperate. What do I do? Her voice was calm, sharp, unshakable. You let me help. The rain intensified to a cold whisper as his pride cracked open. And in the space between them, a space once filled with suspicion, something fragile and terrifying began to shift. Officer Grant stood frozen beside the patrol car, rain collecting at the corners of his eyes like tears he refused to acknowledge. Maya watched him struggle to breathe, his chest rising in shallow, frantic bursts. The same man who had spoken to her moments ago with effortless authority now looked stripped of every layer of control. He swallowed hard. She wasn't sick. Not like this. His voice cracked, disbelief wrapping around every syllable. Elena, she was fine this morning. Maya remained still, her hands resting at her sides, stethoscope cold against her collarbone. Cardiac events don't wait for convenient moments, she said quietly. Grant dragged a trembling hand through his hair. I need help. The word sounded foreign in his mouth, heavy with resistance. You said you're a cardiologist. You can handle this, right? Maya didn't respond immediately. She let the silence expand, forcing him to feel it. His gaze flickered upward, meeting hers, and his fear deepened. It was the first time he looked at her not as a target, but as a lifeline. Please, he added, voice smaller. Please help her. Duty anchored Maya, professional, moral, human. But beneath that duty simmered something raw. You didn't believe I was a doctor. You didn't believe I belonged. The memory of his tone pressed against her ribs. I'll help, she finally said, but you will drive safely. No sirens unless I say so. Understand? He nodded quickly, relief flooding his features. Yes, absolutely. Whatever you need. They moved fast. Maya slipping into the passenger seat of his cruiser. Grant fumbled the radio as he notified dispatch. The engine roared to life, and he pulled onto the road with more urgency than control. Talk to me, he muttered, gripping the wheel. Tell me what to expect. Start from the beginning. Maya said, any history of heart problems? Fainting? Chest pain in recent days? Nothing. She's healthy. Or at least she looked healthy. His voice tightened. You think it's a heart attack? Could be arrhythmia. Could be a blockage. Could be electrical. I'll know more when I see her. Grant exhaled shakily, eyes fixed on the dark road. Rain smeared across the windshield in frantic strokes. I shouldn't have stopped you, he whispered, barely audible. Maya stared forward. You shouldn't have, she replied evenly. But right now, that's not what matters. He flinched as if she'd struck him, but he kept driving. Minutes later, the cruiser lurched into a quiet suburban street lined with identical houses. Flashing ambulance lights pulsed outside one of them, illuminating a cluster of paramedics struggling to stabilize a stretcher. Grant slammed the car into park and bolted toward the house. Elena, he shouted, voice cracking. Maya exited more calmly, approaching the paramedics with professional urgency. One of them noticed her and frowned. Ma'am, you need to stay back. I'm Dr. Maya Ellison, cardiology, she said briskly, flipping open her hospital ID. What's her condition? The paramedic blinked, then stepped aside. Non-responsive. Weak pulse. Possible arrhythmia. We're prepping for transport, but can't stabilize her heart rate. Grant hovered helplessly near the doorway, hands shaking. Do something, he begged Maya. Please. Maya took charge with swift, controlled movements, checking vitals, adjusting oxygen flow, guiding the paramedics with practiced authority. The scene shifted instantly. The uncertainty dissolved as her expertise filled the space. Give me room, she ordered. I need clear access. The paramedics obeyed without question. Grant stared, stunned, watching her hands move with precision he couldn't comprehend. She needs immediate rhythm stabilization, Maya said. I can get her steady enough for transport. Grant stepped closer. Is she dying? Maya met his eyes briefly. Not if we move quickly. She returned to Elena, her voice low and steady as she issued instructions. The paramedics followed her lead, their motions syncing with hers. Grant watched, fear and regret twisting through him. Within minutes, Elena's pulse steadied slightly, still fragile, but no longer slipping away. Maya exhaled. "We're transporting now," she said. "I'll ride with her." Grant blinked. "You'll? After everything? You'd still." "My responsibility is to the patient," she said simply. He nodded, defeated and grateful all at once. Rain continued falling, soft and relentless, as the stretcher was lifted into the ambulance. Grant stood outside, soaked, shattered, watching his world depend on the woman he had nearly handcuffed. And Maya, climbing into the ambulance, felt the weight of harsh irony pressing against her chest. Tonight, she would save the life of the man who doubted she deserved to save anyone's at all. The ambulance door slammed shut behind Maya, sealing her inside the narrow, fluorescent-lit space where Elena Grant lay motionless. The paramedic strapped in beside her glanced anxiously at the heart monitor, its beeping unstable and uneven. Maya pulled on gloves with quick, controlled movements, her exhaustion vanishing beneath the surge of medical focus. "Her rhythms still irregular," the paramedic muttered. "I see it." Maya leaned over Elena, voice calm, steady, charged at 80. "We may need synchronized cardioversion." The paramedic hesitated. "You're sure?" Maya shot him a look, the kind that had silenced entire rooms of residents. "I don't guess. I treat." He obeyed instantly, adjusting the machine as Maya pressed her fingers lightly against Elena's neck to assess her carotid pulse. Weak, thready, fading. She felt the creeping urgency, but not panic, never panic. "Elena, can you hear me?" she asked, though she knew there would be no response. Outside, rain hammered the ambulance roof, a steady roar that made the world feel smaller. Compressed, pressured, the doors opened briefly as another paramedic climbed in before they pulled away from the curb. Through the narrowing gap, Maya spotted Grant standing in the street, soaked, shaking, helpless. Their eyes met for a split second, his filled with fear, hers unreadable. The ambulance lurched forward. "Charging to 80, the paramedic said. "Clear." Maya placed her hand strategically. "Synchronize now." The jolt lifted Elena's chest slightly. The heart monitor hiccuped, then dipped into another erratic rhythm. Maya leaned closer, eyes sharp. Again, charged to 100. The paramedic swallowed hard. "Ready. Clear." Another shock. Another brief jump of Elena's chest. The monitor flicked through possibilities. As if debating whether to quit, Maya didn't flinch. "She's fighting. Push 1 milligram epinephrine." The paramedic drew the dose quickly. Elena's chest rose and fell with shallow breaths assisted by the oxygen mask. Maya watched every twitch of the monitor like a hawk. "Come on," she whispered. "Come back." Her voice wasn't pleading. It was commanding, coaxing life the way she had done 100 times before. The paramedic beside her cleared his throat. "Dr. Ellison, do you want us to alert hospital leadership you're coming?" "No," she said immediately. "Call the cardiac team only. That's all that matters." He nodded, impressed by the precision of her priorities. For several tense seconds, the monitor stayed shaky, unpredictable, dancing between danger and collapse. Then it stabilized. Not perfect, but steady, reliable enough. The paramedic's shoulders sagged. "You got her." Maya didn't smile. Relief was a luxury she couldn't afford yet. "Keep monitoring. If her rhythm slips again, we shock immediately." The ambulance swerved slightly, speeding toward Riverbend Medical. The siren cut through the storm, a shrill reminder that life was dangling by thin threads. The paramedic studied her with open admiration. "You took control fast." Maya kept her gaze on Elena. "I've treated hundreds of cardiac emergencies." "Still," he said, "you were the authority the moment you stepped in." Even with her husband losing it back there, Maya's jaw tightened. She didn't want to think about Officer Grant, about the irony of being the one holding his wife's life, or the words he'd thrown at her earlier. "You don't fit the profile." The memory scraped against her ribs. The ambulance hit a bump, and she steadied herself against the wall. The paramedic hesitated before speaking again. I don't mean to overstep, but I've seen him on calls. He's not exactly gentle with certain communities. Certain communities, Maya echoed, her tone flat. She knew what that meant. She lived it daily. She breathed it. The paramedic offered a careful nod. That's why the way he looked at you, after your help, it was different. Maya didn't respond. She focused instead on Elena, whose pulse now flickered in a fragile but measurable cadence beneath Maya's fingertips. The small victory felt heavier than usual. ETA 3 minutes. The driver called back. Prep for transfer, Maya instructed. I'll lead handoff to the cardiac team. The paramedic shot her an impressed look. You're riding through, then? She's my patient now, Maya said. I stay with her until she's stable. Another jolt of admiration passed through the small team. Even in cramped quarters, with sweat and storm water dripping from her hair, Maya's authority filled every inch of space. The ambulance slowed as they neared the hospital bay. Through the back window, the lights of Riverbend Medical glowed like a beacon in the rain. Maya positioned herself at Elena's side, ready for the doors to open. They'll take her straight to resuscitation, she said. The ambulance rolled to a stop. The doors swung open. Hospital staff flooded forward. Maya stepped out first, speaking quickly, crisply, directing, guiding, commanding. Unstable arrhythmia. 2 shocks delivered. Epinephrine administered. Rhythm currently stabilized but vulnerable. Move her now. The stretcher rushed past her. Nurses nodded at Maya with familiarity and trust. Behind them, the night parted just enough for Maya to see a figure sprinting through the rain toward the hospital entrance. Officer Grant, fear ripping through every step, watching Maya disappear inside with his wife, and realizing she was the only one keeping Elena alive. The automatic doors slid open as the stretcher sped into Riverbend Medical, wheels rattling across the polished floor. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, reflecting off the metal rails. Maya walked alongside the paramedics, issuing rapid instructions that cut through the hospital noise. Page cardiology stat. Room 3. Mira should be on shift. Get her prepped. And someone call respiratory. On it, a nurse replied, already sprinting ahead. Maya stayed close to Elena, watching every fluctuation on the portable monitor. Grant burst through the entrance moments later, slipping slightly on the wet floor. He scanned the chaos, chest heaving, eyes wide with panic. Maya, he called, not ma'am, not hey, but her name. His voice choked on it. She didn't turn. Keep moving, she told the team. They wheeled Elena into resuscitation room 3. The heavy glass doors slid shut behind them, but Grant shoved through before they sealed. I'm her husband, he gasped. A nurse attempted to block him. Sir, you need to wait. It's fine, Maya said without looking at him. He stays against the wall. Not one step closer. Grant obeyed instantly, pressing his back to the cold tile, drenched uniform clinging to him. He watched as Maya took command. BP is dropping again, a nurse said. Sodium? Potassium. Maya asked. Potassium is low. Get 4 potassium ready. And start an amiodarone drip, 150 milligrams over 10 minutes. Let's stabilize her rhythm before we consider shock again. Staff moved around her with practiced rhythm. They knew her leadership. They trusted it. Grant's eyes darted between the medical team and Maya's steady posture. Each instruction she gave sliced deeper into his shame. He had questioned this woman's credentials less than 30 minutes ago. Now an entire hospital responded to her voice. A respiratory therapist entered the room. Dr. Ellison, vent settings? Hold off for now, she said. Her breathing is shallow but present. We intubate only if she crashes. The therapist nodded. Maya leaned over Elena, speaking quietly. Elena, if you can hear me, we're stabilizing you. Your heart just needs support. For a moment, it looked like Elena's eyelids twitched, but Maya didn't let herself believe it yet. False hope was deadly. Grant stepped forward instinctively. Is she? Back, Maya said sharply, not even looking at him. He froze, swallowing hard. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is not the moment for talking, she said. This is the moment for you to stay out of the way." The nurse beside her raised a brow. Rarely did Maya speak so bluntly to a family member, but no one questioned it, not when the stakes were this high. After several tense minutes, Elena's heart rhythm steadied again, though the drops of sweat forming at Maya's temple betrayed the effort behind the calm. One nurse leaned close. "Dr. Mira is on her way. She said she'll take over as soon as she arrives." "Good," Maya replied softly. "We'll maintain the drip until then." She finally stepped back, stripping off her gloves, her hands trembling from adrenaline she refused to acknowledge. Grant watched her, eyes full of something dense. Fear, gratitude, regret, confusion, an entire storm crashing inside him. "Is she safe now?" he asked, voice small. Maya met his gaze for the first time since entering the hospital. "Safe?" she repeated. "No, not yet, but she's not dying in this room." He blinked, inhaling sharply. A nurse approached Maya. "Dr. Ellison, the team is ready for handoff." Maya nodded. "I'll brief Mira." She walked toward the doorway, but Grant hurried after her. "Wait, please." She stopped, not turning around. "How?" His voice cracked. "How did you know exactly what to do? So fast?" She slowly faced him, her expression unreadable. "Because I am exactly what I told you I am. A doctor, a specialist, a woman who has trained her entire life for moments like this." Grant swallowed, guilt twisting in his features. "I misjudged you." "Yes," Maya said. "You did." A murmur of voices filled the hallway. Nurses, techs, the steady hum of pagers. Hospital staff approached, nodding respectfully to Maya, some eyeing Grant with wary recognition. "Ellison," one nurse said with a sigh, "you always show up right when we need you." Grant stiffened. Their familiarity with her was undeniable. Another staff member walked by, muttering under their breath. "Isn't that Officer Grant? The one always stopping people on 7th? Two nurses exchanged a look. Grant heard it. His jaw tightened in embarrassment. Maya handed Elena's chart to a passing resident. "Prep for echo and labs once she stabilizes further." Then she walked away from Grant with quick, sure steps. He followed her down the hall. Can I talk to you for a minute?" "You can walk," she said coldly. "Talking is optional." He winced but kept pace. "I didn't know you were respected like this. I didn't know you were—" "A doctor?" Maya finished. "A professional? Someone you shouldn't have humiliated on the side of the road." Grant closed his eyes briefly. "I was wrong." "Wrong doesn't undo damage," she said. They stopped near the nurse's station. Grant looked small, drained, disoriented. "Maya," he whispered, "you saved her life." "Not yet," she replied. "But I'm trying, because that's my job, even when people don't think I deserve to do it." Footsteps echoed down the hall. Dr. Mira approaching quickly. Maya stepped away, ready to brief her. And Grant, standing alone in the harsh hospital lighting, finally understood something for the first time. His authority meant nothing here. Here, Maya was the one in power. And without her, his world would already be shattered. River Bend Medical quieted slightly after the rush of emergency activity, but the tension clung to the halls like static. Grant paced outside Elena's room, dripping rainwater onto the tile, hands clasped behind his neck. Every now and then he looked through the small window in the door, watching nurses adjust monitors and speak softly over his wife's bed. Maya stepped out after finishing the echocardiogram briefing with Dr. Mira. She removed her gloves with a sharp snap, tossing them into the bin. Her face held the composed exhaustion of someone running on pure discipline. Grant approached timidly. "How is she?" "Still unconscious," Maya replied. "Her rhythm is stable for now, but we won't know the underlying cause until labs return. Dr. Mira is monitoring her." He nodded, throat bobbing. "Can I sit with her?" "Not while they're stabilizing her," she said. "You'll be allowed in when it's safe." Grant hesitated, then blurted, "I need to apologize." Maya crossed her arms. "For what exactly?" "For earlier." He swallowed. "For how I treated you." She stared at him, unblinking. "Be specific." Grant opened his mouth. "Close it again. I shouldn't have doubted your credentials." or your intentions. I shouldn't have spoken the way I did. That's not an apology, Maya said. That's a list of vague regrets. His face tightened. Then what do you want me to say? The truth. Her voice was low, steady. Say you profiled me. Say you assumed I didn't belong. Say you used your badge to make me feel smaller. Grant stiffened as if struck. A long silence stretched between them. Nurses passing through the corridor slowed slightly, picking up fragments of the tension. Finally, Grant whispered, "You're right. I judged you because of how you look. Because," he forced himself to finish, "because I've learned to assume things about people who look like you." Maya didn't flinch. There it is. He looked down, shame twisting in his posture. "I didn't realize," he exhaled shakily. "I didn't realize how." "You didn't realize you were the danger," she said. "But you were." Before Grant could respond, a commanding voice echoed down the hallway. "Grant." Both turned as a tall, broad-shouldered man in uniform approached. Officer Douglas Kane, Grant's superior. His expression was hard, almost irritated. "What the hell happened out there?" Kane demanded. "Dispatch said your wife collapsed and you brought her here with some civilian physician?" Maya's jaw tightened. Grant straightened. "She's not a civilian physician. She's Dr. Ellison. She saved." Kane cut him off with a dismissive snort. "Right. Her." His eyes skimmed Maya with thinly veiled disdain. "Funny. I've had reports of her before." Maya lifted her chin. "Reports?" "Yeah," Kane said, crossing his arms. "Patients of yours complaining you're too forceful, too opinionated. Think you know better than everyone." Maya blinked once. "Those aren't complaints. Those are fabrications. I've never received a formal patient grievance." Grant frowned. "Kane, that's not." Kane held up a hand. "Grant, relax. I'm just saying women like her can be difficult in emergency situations." Maya's shoulders tensed. "Women like me?" Kane smiled thinly. "You know, assertive types." "Assertive types," Maya repeated, voice dangerously calm. Grant glanced between them, guilt churning in his stomach. Kane's tone, his phrasing, it was the same kind of coded dismissal Grant himself had used earlier without thinking. Kane stepped closer to Grant. "Listen, if this gets out, if anyone hears about you dragging some doctor off the road and then relying on her, doesn't reflect well on the department. Or on you." Maya's eyes narrowed. "Dragging me off the road?" Kane ignored her. "So keep this quiet. Understand? The public doesn't need another reason to complain about policing right now." Grant felt the room tilt. "Kane," she saved Elena. Kane shrugged. "Good for your wife. But the optics? Bad. Really bad." Maya's voice sliced through the tension. "I'm standing right here." Kane scoffed. And you're discussing me," she said, "as if I'm not." A new voice chimed in from down the hallway. "You mind repeating that louder?" All three turned to see a woman with a press badge clipped to her jacket. A journalist, Jenna Riggs. She held a notepad and a raised brow. Kane stiffened. "This is a private medical matter." Jenna smiled faintly. "Then maybe you shouldn't be discussing it in a public hallway." Maya crossed her arms again, watching the sudden shift in Kane's posture with quiet interest. Jenna's eyes flicked to Maya. "Dr. Ellison, I heard you brought in a cardiac patient personally. That's unusual." Maya shook her head. "The patient was in critical condition. The situation required immediate care." Jenna eyed Kane. "And this officer was interfering?" Grant stepped forward quickly. "No, Dr. Ellison handled everything professionally." Maya noticed it. The crack in his voice, the conflict swirling behind his eyes. Jenna scribbled something down. Kane bristled. "No one needs to be writing anything. Everyone should focus on the patient." "Funny," Jenna said lightly. "That's exactly what Dr. Ellison seems to be doing." Kane muttered something under his breath and stormed off, shoulders rigid. Grant watched him go, then looked at Maya. He shouldn't have said those things. "He believes those things," Maya corrected. "That's the problem." Grant lowered his gaze. Jenna approached Maya quietly. "If anything inappropriate happens, you have my card." She slipped a small note into Maya's hand before walking away. Maya tucked it into her pocket. Grant swallowed. I didn't know Kane talked like that. You didn't have to, she replied. You talk like him. The words sank into him like stones. Grant looked through the window at Elena, pale, still, fragile. And for the first time, he understood his behavior wasn't an exception. It was part of a pattern he had chosen not to see. Riverbend Medical's morning light crept in slowly, thin gold ribbons cutting across the polished floors. Maya arrived back from a brief break, coffee in hand. Exhaustion layered beneath her calm expression. The night had been long. Elena remained unconscious but stable. Labs were pending. Maya prepared herself for another cycle of waiting. What she didn't expect were the stares, nurses whispering, techs glancing at their phones. 2 residents huddled over a tablet, brows raised. Maya slowed her steps. What's going on? A resident cleared his throat. There's a video circulating. Video? Maya repeated. A nurse handed over a phone hesitantly. You might want to see this before the department does. On the screen, body cam footage? No, bystander footage. Recorded by a neighbor during the traffic stop. The shaky angle captured Grant questioning Maya aggressively, shining his light in her face, doubting her credentials. The sound was clear enough. You don't fit the profile. Then Maya's calm, controlled responses, her professionalism under pressure. And finally, Grant receiving the call about his wife collapsing. The clip cut there, brief but damning. Maya exhaled slowly, jaw tightening. Who posted it? The nurse shrugged. Neighbor's kid, I think. It's spreading fast. Fast was an understatement. The clip had already hit 30,000 views. Comments flooded beneath it. This is why people don't trust the system. The way she held her composure? Incredible. Imagine questioning a doctor because of her skin color. Unreal. Thank God she was there to save his wife, because he sure wasn't helping. Maya handed the phone back. Great, she muttered. Exactly what I didn't need. You're trending, the nurse said softly. Maya pinched the bridge of her nose. I don't want to be trending. But the hospital was already stirring with the reverberations, rumors, conversations, judgments, and not just from staff. Down the hall, Maya spotted Officer Grant standing stiffly beside a vending machine, staring at his phone like it had detonated in his hand. His cheeks were pale, eyes wide, breath uneven. He looked up when he saw her approaching. You've seen it, he said, voice already breaking. Yes, she replied simply. Grant swallowed. I didn't know someone was recording. I didn't know it would. Go public, she finished. Be exposed. He shut his eyes. I never meant for this to happen. Maya's voice was cool. Your intentions don't erase the reality. He looked at her, really looked at her, as if seeing her beyond the white coat, beyond the night's crisis. People are calling me a racist, he whispered. She met his gaze. Are you surprised? He flinched, as though the words physically struck him. Before she could say more, Dr. Mira jogged up. Labs are back. Elena's cardiac markers suggest a stress-induced arrhythmia. Could be genetic, but we need more tests. Grant straightened. Is she waking up? Not yet, Mira said, but she's stable. Grant exhaled shakily. Thank you. Maya stepped aside, letting Mira continue. She needed a moment, just one, to breathe, but the hospital wasn't done. 2 more nurses approached, whispering urgently. Dr. Ellison, the news station is asking for comment, and HR want to speak with you. Also, someone posted a clip on TikTok of patients in the waiting room cheering for you. Maya blinked. Cheering? People are calling you the doctor who saved a racist cop's wife. One nurse said, wincing. The headline is blunt. Maya closed her eyes. I didn't save anyone yet, and I don't want to be the symbol of anyone's outrage. Meanwhile, Grant leaned against a wall, phone buzzing endlessly, calls from colleagues, texts from officers, comments flooding his notifications. He whispered, more to himself than to her, my whole department is going to see this. Maya met his eyes. Maybe they should. He shook his head. They'll think I'm weak, that I lost control. that I embarrass the department. Grant, she said quietly, this isn't about embarrassment. This is about accountability. He looked at her with a mixture of fear and dawning understanding. My captain already texted. He wants a statement. And what will you say? Maya asked. He didn't answer. But the answer hovered between them. He didn't know. He had never had to know. Moments later, a commotion erupted at Elena's door. Maya's instinct sharpened. She hurried over, pushing through two nurses. Elena's eyelids fluttered. Her fingers twitched. Maya! Mira called. She's waking. Grant sprinted across the hall, breathless. Elena? Elena! Maya stepped back as the monitors beat faster. Elena's eyes opened, confused, groggy, struggling to focus. A soft breath escaped her. Where am I? She whispered. You're at Riverbend, Maya said gently. You had a cardiac event. We stabilized you. Elena blinked slowly. I remember feeling dizzy. Grant stepped closer. Honey, I'm here. I'm right here. Her gaze lifted weakly toward him. But instead of relief, there was worry, confusion, sorrow. She sensed it, the tension in the room, the energy around her bed, the crisis that had unfolded. And then she spoke the first words that cut the air open. Who saved me? Grant looked at Maya, throat tight. Maya spoke calmly. I did. I was there when the call came. Elena stared at her, expression softening. Thank you, she whispered. Emotion flickered across Grant's face, gratitude, guilt, reverence, terror, all tangled in one impossible knot. The moment was delicate, silent, but outside the room, voices continued rising. The truth was spreading. The footage was viral. The department was panicking. The public was watching. Everyone was choosing sides. And in that fragile hospital room, with Elena's eyes slowly opening to the chaos her collapse had set in motion, the consequences were only beginning. Elena lay propped against a hospital bed, a thin blanket pulled over her legs, her breathing soft but steady. Morning sunlight filtered through blinds, striping the room in pale gold. Grant hovered near her side, shoulder stiff, unsure whether to sit or stand. Maya entered quietly, clipboard in hand, her posture calm and clinical. How are you feeling? Maya asked. Elena's eyelids fluttered as she focused, tired but present. Her gaze shifted to Grant, then back to Maya. I remember collapsing. Then nothing. That's expected, Maya said. Your heart went into a dangerous rhythm. We stabilized you quickly. Elena nodded slowly, absorbing this. Then she turned to Grant again, studying him, sensing the tension pulsing off his body. Why does it feel like something's wrong? She asked softly. Grant straightened. Nothing's wrong. I'm just relieved you're awake. His voice cracked on the last word. Elena noticed. Grant, she whispered, what happened? Before he could answer, a nurse knocked lightly and stepped inside. Dr. Ellison, lab results confirm stress-induced arrhythmia. Dr. Mira wants you in the conference room once you're done here. Thank you, Maya said. The nurse left. Elena inhaled. Stress-induced? What kind of stress? Maya hesitated, choosing her words carefully. It could be physical, emotional, even unrelated. We'll need more tests. Elena's eyes drifted to the window. It's been a stressful year, she murmured. Then her gaze sharpened again. But I know there's something else going on. Grant shifted uncomfortably. Elena, maybe now isn't the right time. She held his gaze with quiet intensity. Then silence. A silence, so heavy Maya felt it pressing against the walls. Finally, Elena turned to her doctor. Dr. Ellison, may I ask you something? Yes. Were you with Grant when he got the call about me? Maya nodded. Did he treat you professionally? Another silence, this one sharper. Grant looked horrified. Elena, don't. I'm asking her, Elena said, not raising her voice but slicing through him all the same. Maya met Elena's eyes and answered with measured honesty. Your husband pulled me over. The exchange was tense. Tense how? Elena pressed. Grant's breathing quickened. Elena, I was panicking. No, she said, voice trembling. This happened before the call. She looked at Maya again. What did he say to you? Maya didn't soften it. He questioned whether I was really a doctor, implied I didn't fit the profile. He asked me to step out of the car. His tone was antagonistic. Elena's face fell, a kind of weary grief settling behind her eyes. Grant, you didn't. Grant swallowed, guilt swallowing his words. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know. You shouldn't have needed to, Elena whispered. Grant blinked hard, tears forming. Elena, stop, she said. Please, just stop. The heartbreak in her tone cut Maya more deeply than anger could have. Elena turned back to Maya. And you still help him? I helped you, Maya corrected gently. You were in danger. Nothing else mattered. Elena pressed a trembling hand to her chest. Thank you. Truly. Maya nodded once, then stepped back. I'll give you both a moment. But as she turned toward the door, Elena's voice stopped her. I want you to stay. Grant blinked. What? Why? Elena's gaze hardened, not cruel, but resolute. Because I want a clear explanation of my condition from the person who saved me, not from someone who was too busy judging her to notice I was dying. Grant recoiled as if struck. Maya hesitated. Elena, I don't want to intrude on your family conversation. You're not intruding, Elena said. You're the only one in this room who earned trust tonight. Grant opened his mouth, but found nothing to say. Maya stayed. She pulled up the monitor readings, explaining Elena's condition simply, clearly, compassionately. Elena listened carefully, nodding at each part. Then she asked the question Maya knew was coming. Could stress from home trigger this? Maya considered her carefully. Severe emotional stress can contribute. Elena closed her eyes briefly. Then she whispered, It has been severe. Grant took a step forward. Elena, please. I know I've made mistakes, but I never thought. She held up a weak hand, stopping him. You never think. That's the problem. Grant's jaw quivered. I can change. Can you? Elena asked, eyes glistening. Have you ever tried? He said nothing. She turned her head toward Maya again. Did he thank you properly? Grant winced. Maya answered plainly. He apologized. For what he did? Elena asked. Yes, Maya said, but apologies don't erase harm. Elena nodded, absorbing every word. A long, fragile moment passed before she spoke again. Grant, I am grateful you brought her, but I can't ignore what she told me, what that video showed. Grant paled. You saw it? A nurse passing by overheard and confirmed softly. It's everywhere. Elena looked at her husband with painful clarity. I love you, but love is in denial, and I won't pretend you didn't endanger someone else because of your prejudice. Grant broke then, visibly fully, tears spilled. His breath hitched. Elena, I'm losing everything, he whispered. You almost lost me, she replied, because you were too busy being someone you shouldn't be. Silence. Then she added softly, if we're going to fix this, Grant, it starts with honesty, with accountability, with you facing what you've done. Grant nodded, tears streaking down his face. I'll try. I swear I'll try. Trying isn't enough, she murmured, but as a start. Maya quietly stepped back, heart heavy. Elena wasn't just waking to her medical crisis. She was waking to the truth about the man she married. The administrative wing of Riverbend Medical hummed, with low voices and fluorescent lights. Maya walked toward the conference room, clutching a folder of Elena's updated readings. She expected medical questions. She did not expect what waited inside. 3 people sat at the long table. Dr. Mira, arms folded. Hospital Administrator Karen Holt, stiff posture, tablet in hand. And Jenna Riggs, the journalist, leaning back as if she had been invited or refused to leave. Karen cleared her throat. Dr. Ellison, please have a seat. Maya remained standing. If this is about the video, I have no comment. Jenna arched a brow. You don't need one. The online world is doing the commentary for you. Karen shot the journalist a disapproving look. Ms. Riggs is observing because the situation has garnered media attention. Maya tightened her grip on the folder. My priority is my patient, not a headline. Your patient, Karen repeated carefully, is part of a case involving a police officer. The optics are complicated. Maya's jaw tightened. Optics don't save lives. Dr. Mira gave a sympathetic nod. We're not here to reprimand you. We're here to prepare you. For what? Maya asked. Officer Grant's department is launching an internal investigation, Mira said. The video has forced their hand. Maya exhaled sharply. Good. Karen interjected. Voice clinical. Grant's superior, Officer Kane, has already contacted the hospital, insisting the video is misleading. Maya scoffed. Of course he did. Jenna added, Kane gave a statement this morning pretending this was a routine stop gone wrong. He conveniently left out the part where he belittled you in the hallway. Maya eyed her. You recorded that? It's amazing what people say in public spaces. Jenna replied. Karen cleared her throat again. Additionally, Dr. Ellison, the police union has requested your documentation of the incident. Maya stiffened. My documentation? Why? They want your version before pursuing disciplinary action against Grant. Jenna clicked her pen. Translation. They want to know how much trouble they're in. Maya considered the weight of it. A statement meant scrutiny. Papers. Interviews. She would be drawn into a web she had no interest in. But she also thought of Elena, fragile, recovering, and of the countless people who had stood before a badge and heard exactly what she'd heard. You don't fit the profile. Maya nodded. I'll provide a statement. Factual only. Karen gave a tight nod. We appreciate your cooperation. Jenna eyed Maya with quiet admiration. You're doing more than cooperating. You're setting a record straight. Maya didn't respond. She turned to leave. As she exited the room, she nearly collided with someone in the hall, Officer Kane. His expression was tight, defensive. Dr. Ellison. Maya resisted the urge to step back. Officer Kane. He lowered his voice. Let me be clear. You're not going to ruin one of my officers because of a misunderstanding. Maya stared coldly. What happened wasn't a misunderstanding. You people always exaggerate situations like this. Kane snapped quietly. The words sliced through the hallway. A quiet, venomous confession. Maya stiffened. You people... He smirked. You heard me. She took one step closer, voice like ice. I saved his wife. You should be thanking me. Kane scoffed. We'll handle our own. You stay in your lane. Before Maya could respond, another voice echoed from behind them. I'd rethink that sentence if I were you. Jenna stepped forward, notepad raised. Kane's face drained of color when he realized she'd been there long enough to hear everything. You, Kane sputtered. Oh, don't worry, Jenna said lightly. I record everything. Occupational hazard. Kane's expression flickered between anger and fear before he stormed down the hallway. Jenna turned to Maya. You just witnessed a cover-up in progress. Maya sighed. I'm too tired for politics. And yet, Jenna said gently, you're right in the middle of it. Later that afternoon, an internal investigator arrived at the hospital. Grant was summoned into a small interview room. Maya walked past the door and heard raised voices. Grant struggling to defend himself. Another officer demanding clarity, asking why he stopped Maya in the first place. Did she break any law? The investigator asked sharply. Grant hesitated too long. Maya kept walking. In Elena's room, the atmosphere was calmer. Elena rested, breathing evenly. She looked stronger. A nurse whispered, She asked for you. Maya entered quietly. Elena's eyes fluttered open. You look tired, Elena murmured. I am, Maya admitted. Elena's gaze softened. Sit, please. Maya pulled a chair beside her. Elena reached out weakly, brushing Maya's hand with her fingertips. Grant told me they're investigating him, she said. Correct. And that you'll have to give a statement. Yes. A quiet sadness settled in Elena's eyes. I'm sorry you're caught in this. You didn't cause it, Maya replied. No. Elena whispered. But I married the man who did. The words hung between them. Then Elena added, whatever happens, it needs to happen. For him, for me, for the people he hurts without realizing it. Maya nodded slowly. You're brave. Elena gave a faint smile. No, I'm tired pretending. Hours later, a ripple of tension spread through the hospital halls. Officers appeared, 2 uniformed, 1 plain clothes. Grant walked among them, pale and exhausted, hands clasped behind his back, not cuffed but under escort. Maya watched from afar in the corridor. Grant didn't look angry. He didn't look defensive. He looked shattered. Their eyes met briefly, his filled with regret, hers with quiet, unyielding truth. The system had begun to turn. And for the first time, Grant understood that his authority could not shield him from consequences. Not when the world had seen what he had done. Not when the woman he wronged had saved the one person he loved most. Riverbend Medical was quieter the next morning. The storm finally passed. Sunlight poured through the long windows of the cardiac wing, warm and almost forgiving. Maya stood by the nurse's station reviewing Elena's updated labs, grateful for the stillness. Her body ached with fatigue, but her mind carried a sharper exhaustion, the emotional kind that settled into bone. A knock sounded on the counter. Dr. Ellison, a nurse, said, "The community forum starts in 10. They're asking if you're still speaking." Maya massaged her brow. I said I'd keep it brief. "It's packed," the nurse added. "People want to hear you." Maya hesitated. She never asked to be anyone's symbol. Yet the story had spiraled far beyond her control. Ignoring it wouldn't make it go away. Silence would simply let others rewrite the narrative. "I'll be there," she said. The small auditorium near the hospital cafeteria buzzed with voices. Patients, staff, community members, activists, even a few reporters. A banner on the wall read, "Building trust between healthcare and the community." Maya stepped onto the low platform, the room settling into a hush. She gripped the podium lightly. "I'm not here to discuss viral clips or trending hashtags," she began. "I'm here because something happened that reflects a bigger, painful truth." Her voice carried steady, calm authority. Racial bias isn't just one interaction. It's a pattern. 1,000 small cuts that stack on top of each other until someone bleeds. Murmurs rippled through the room. She continued, "I wasn't harmed physically during that traffic stop, but I was diminished. Assumptions were made about who I am and what I'm capable of. And I know I'm not alone in that." A soft murmur of agreement rose from the audience. "What happened next," Maya added, "is a testament to something else, duty. My role as a physician is to treat the patient in front of me, regardless of who they are. That's why I helped. That's the promise I made." She paused, letting the words settle. "I don't want praise. I want change." The room erupted into applause, loud, earnest, grateful. Maya stepped back, heart heavy but steady. At the back of the auditorium, unnoticed by most, stood Grant. His uniform was gone. He wore plain clothes, shoulders slumped, unsure whether he even belonged in space. He didn't clap. He didn't speak. He simply watched. Maya saw him, but she didn't react. Later, Maya found a moment of quiet in a small hospital garden. A narrow courtyard filled with lavender, fountain grass, and stone benches warmed by sunlight. She sat, closing her eyes, letting the calm wrap around her. Footsteps approached. She opened her eyes to see Grant standing near the entrance, hands shoved deep into his pockets. His face was drawn, tired, humble. "Is it all right if I—" He gestured to the empty bench across from her. Maya nodded once. He sat slowly, elbows resting on his knees. For a few moments, neither spoke. Finally, Grant exhaled shakily. "The investigation didn't go well." "That tends to happen when there's evidence," Maya replied. He winced. "I'm suspended. Indefinitely. Maybe permanently." Maya didn't soften. "Consequences catch everyone eventually." He nodded, eyes fixed on the ground. "Elena told me she wants counseling, that she's reconsidering things. Us." Maya studied him quietly. "How do you feel about that?" Grant swallowed. "Like I deserve it." Silence again, heavy but not hostile. Grant finally looked up, eyes wet. I listened to your speech. Maya raised a brow. And for the first time he took a breath, I realized you weren't just talking about me. You were talking about a system I helped uphold without ever questioning it. Maya stayed silent, letting him wrestle with the weight. I can't undo what I did to you, he said softly, or to others, but I want to try to become someone Elena would be proud of. Someone I would be proud of. Someone who doesn't hide behind a badge to excuse his own fear. Maya watched him, searching for performative guilt. She found none. He wasn't seeking forgiveness. He was confronting himself. You have a long road ahead, she finally said. I know, Grant whispered, and nothing changes overnight. I know that too. Maya looked toward the blooming lavender. If you want to become better, start by listening, really listening, to the people you used to overlook. Grant nodded. I will. They sat in silence for another minute, the kind that wasn't angry or tense, just honest. Grant stood slowly. Thank you, not for the medical care, for the truth. Maya didn't answer. She didn't need to. He walked away, shoulders hunched yet lighter somehow. A man beginning the long process of unlearning. Maya exhaled, feeling the heaviness of the past 2 days settle into something quieter, still painful, still present, but no longer suffocating. Tomorrow wouldn't be easy, but tomorrow would come. And maybe, she thought, watching sunlight spill across the courtyard, maybe dawn didn't need to be bright, to be hopeful, just soft and honest. The morning after the forum, Riverbend Medical moved with a cautious calm. Like a city after a storm, debris still scattered but the sky finally clearing. Maya stepped into Elena's room for her routine check, expecting another quiet discussion about recovery. Instead, she found Elena sitting upright with a small stack of documents on her lap. You're working already? Maya asked softly. Elena smiled faintly. Not working. Closing chapters. Before Maya could respond, the door opened again. Grant stepped in. Clean clothes, hair neatly combed, posture subdued. Not defeated, but no longer hollow. Different. Morning, Maya, he said quietly. Good morning. Elena looked between them. Grant has something to share. Grant inhaled deeply. I resigned. Maya stilled, eyes carefully unreadable. Voluntarily? Yes, he said. The department was leaning toward termination anyway, but I didn't want them to fire me while pretending it was about bad optics. It was my behavior, my responsibility. Elena squeezed his hand weakly. I told him I wouldn't pretend nothing happened. Grant nodded. I don't want you to. I want to rebuild, to learn, but not as an officer who hides behind a badge. I need to start over as myself. Maya considered him. Resignation is one step. What's next? Grant paused, then pulled a folded letter from his pocket and held it out to her. Maya hesitated. What is this? A letter, he said, not asking for forgiveness, not expecting a response. Just truth. Mine. She took it slowly. Elena added softly, read it when you're ready. Maya slipped the letter into her coat pocket. Thank you. Grant exhaled, shoulders relaxing slightly, as if handing it over lifted something heavy from him. He looked at Maya with a quiet honesty. I didn't just lose my job. I lost the person I thought I was. And I needed to. Maya didn't comfort him, but she didn't turn away either. A nurse entered with discharge papers. Elena's signs were directed, fatigue visible but determination stronger. After a final check, she turned to Maya. You saved my life, Elena said. Maya shook her head gently. We stabilize your heart. You save your own life by waking up and speaking the truth. Elena smiled, a fragile but sincere curve. Still, thank you. Maya returned the smile faintly. Take care of yourself. And take the follow-up appointments seriously. We will, Elena replied. Grant nodded. We will. As the couple prepared to leave, Grant lingered at the threshold. Maya waited. I know people say poetic justice means karma hitting hard, he said quietly. But for me, it feels like something else. What does it feel like? Maya asked, Being forced to see the truth, Grant murmured, and realizing the person who opened my eyes was the same one I mistreated. Maya studied him. Truth is the beginning of change, not the end. Grant nodded deeply. I understand. He looked like a man standing on the edge of a long, difficult road, one he would have to walk without applause or shortcuts. Then he left. That afternoon, Maya returned to her office. She sat at her desk, pulled out the letter Grant had given her, and unfolded it. His handwriting was clumsy, uneven, like each word weighed something. Dr. Ellison, you didn't just save my wife's life. You saved a part of me I had buried under authority, fear, and habits I never questioned. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that your strength forced me to face truths I spent years ignoring. You showed courage where I showed suspicion. You showed humanity where I showed arrogance. You showed duty where I showed bias. I hope one day my wife can look at me with the pride she had before I lost my way. And I hope in some distant future, you can look at me without seeing a threat. You saved more than a heartbeat that night. You gave me the chance to become someone worth remembering. This isn't redemption. It's a beginning. Grant. Maya closed the letter slowly, not moved to tears, not overwhelmed, just still, a quiet, grounded stillness, the kind that came after standing through a storm. She placed the letter in her drawer, not as a keepsake, not as closure, but as documentation of the cost of truth. Hours later, Maya left the hospital. The sun was dipping low, bathing the city in warm gold. She walked across the parking lot, her steps slow but purposeful. A long shift awaited tomorrow. More patience, more battles, more quiet victories. And somewhere in the city, a former officer was beginning the hard work of rebuilding. Slowly, painfully, honestly, Maya breathed deeply, letting the cool air fill her lungs. Poetic justice wasn't loud. It wasn't triumphant. It wasn't always satisfying. Sometimes it was simply this: a broken system forced to confront itself, a man stripped of excuses, a woman walking forward, scarred, exhausted, resolute. The sun dipped behind the horizon, and Maya stepped into the soft glow of evening, ready for whatever tomorrow asked of her.